Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this Monday, the 28th of April edition to the webinar. I think I started out the webinar. This would be my second time starting it because the first time I believe the mute button was on and it was not functioning properly. So now that we are you all able to hear me? Can somebody maybe chime in on the chat panel just to make sure that I'm being heard? There's James. He says yes. Casey, yes. Val, yes. Thank you so much. Hello, Gordon. Hello, David. Lowell, Jean-Luc, James, Fred. Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for confirming that my second start. I guess the first time was a false start. Now this one you can actually hear me. So, all right. I want to make sure I've got the recording going on this now. And there we go. Speaking of recordings, we do record this. Let's see. Ken is saying sound is bad. It sounds like the line is overloaded. Sound is okay now. Okay. So Ken, maybe it was a connection thing, but good to know that we are back up and live with the audio. And yes, as I was saying about the recording, we do record these each and every time and then post them up on the Super Simple Outsourcing site. A little bit earlier, before the webinar started, I put that link into the group chat panel. If you're not seeing that and you're new to GoToWebinar, in the top right panel of your screen, or top right area of your screen, you should see a kind of an orange icon with a white arrow in it. That will usually expand your GoToWebinar settings, and you'll probably be able to expand your chat panel there and your question and answer panel there. So if you're looking for that, do look in the top right corner and expand your GoToWebinar settings. All right. So we've got the recording going, the audio check done. Let's see what else we've got here to get ready for today's webinar. Yes, it is a Q&A session today, so go ahead and feel free to enter your questions into the chat panel. I do try and get to each and every one that I can. If I'm not able to address your question live on the air, it is most likely because it's very unique to yourself individually, and it might not be something that's for everyone to hear the answer to, and we might just want to take that up on the support side of Nitro or the support side on Endless Rise, our partner with Super Simple Outsourcing. So I will try and direct you if that's the case, but let's see, I'm going to get, there it is. There's the support email address. If you have a very Nitro-related support question, go ahead and email over to us. I can go ahead and put the support information for Endless Rise in the group chat panel right now. All right, there it is. So they actually have a phone number. You can dial them up and get a hold of a campaign manager or just a customer service person. Most of you have already got your dashboard access, and you're probably familiar with the support in the top left corner. The kind of slide out that gives you the various options, including Skype for your unique person and the phone number and everything like that. So I would highly recommend going there first if you already have your dashboard access. All right. So presenters today, it's just myself. Paul had a bit of another item on his schedule today, so I'll be leading us through the Q&A session today, and be happy to answer any questions you have that come in. If I can. If I can't, I will defer to a resource, or we'll look at circling around and catching that another time. All right, on the agenda for today, pretty quick, small agenda, and then we'll jump right into Q&A. We're going to be moving to a summer schedule. I know we're a little ahead of summer, but I know where I live, it's going to hopefully feel like summer this week. They're calling for that. And so we're going to drop into a little bit of a summer schedule. Attendance always drops a little bit this time of the year and in through the summer months. And so we would like to do that and concentrate our efforts and everybody's time and energy on the one webinar per month. And so the next one will be, of course, in May. It is tentatively scheduled for May 12th at this point. There may be an adjustment to that schedule, so just keep an eye on your inbox, and we will let you know. If not, it's going to be May 12th. Okay, so we're now ready for open Q&A. So go ahead and post any questions you might have in the chat panel, and Guess I could come up for air here and say welcome to all of you. I see a bunch of people dropping in. Let's see. Yeah, lots of people saying hi. Hi, John Luke. Very good. All right. Gary, hello. Ken, Matt, John. Very good. All right. We do have a question from John here saying, I'm new to the LBMM program, signed up for the first website last week. Let's see, still not able to access it. So he signed up for the SSO last week and did not have a dashboard access just yet. Let me actually put an email address of somebody who you should get a hold of, and that is Judy over at Endless Rise. So she has direct access to the login information and everything. I just submitted this email address to the group chat panel. It's just Judy at endlessrise.com, and she again can get you direct access to the dashboard. She can check up on the application. If you have not heard back from them, I highly recommend checking in with Judy, because she's right there, and she can check on the status, and then sometimes she'll just fill out an application with you right then and there to get things going, or she will forward you the login information. I would also highly recommend, if it's been over 48 hours and you have not heard back from them, that you would check your spam folder. And we do see a lot of, well, not a lot, but we do see it sometimes where the application gets funneled into the spam folder, and or people aren't recognizing where the email is coming from, thinking that it might say Super Simple Outsourcing, but it actually says Endless Rise, the last I checked in the email. Whether it's in the subject line. So, check there, just because sometimes it's unrecognized when it comes back over. And if not, again, I highly recommend checking in with Judy, or I did put the customer service number in the chat panel there, and so hopefully you could call as well if you want to try and get a hold of somebody live. Okay, I think that's my best recommendation if you have not heard back from them on your application status. Okay. Let's see, James, you're saying to get the free report mentioned, results advanced training, do I submit a proposal? I think you might be speaking of the 24 niches report from the webinar, and most of you probably already have that if you have listened to a webinar from us in the past, and it's kind of a nice little bonus we hand out. Let me see if I can find that link real quickly here. Bear with me one moment. I can share that. And what it is if you've listened to an LBMM webinar, which probably most of you have seen how we offer a nice little niche report that talks about 24, kind of 24 of the best niches that you can go after in this local marketing space. And I'm going to enter that right now into the chat panel for everyone. All right, there it is, nitromarketing.com/niche report. And that will get you, a list of 24 niches that if you don't already have one, that kind of helps you narrow your focus. And it really matches up with a lot of the criteria that Kevin talks about in the courses that we have on who to go after and who to target. So I hope that does help you out. Okay, let's see. Rick has a question. Since we offer so many services, is there a contract we can use for all of them? What we have, now there's two different thought patterns here with the contract. And the one of those is that Kevin kind of subscribed to the idea that it's the same thing that you have with Super Simple Outsourcing and Endless Rise, is there's not a big long contract where you have to commit, to ordering 6 months worth of service for a particular client, because really hope that they want to stay around that long, but we just don't know, right? So we allow you to go month to month, and Paul and Endless Rise, they allow you to go month to month, and so there's not a big long contract there. And Kevin kind of adopted that with his agency, and he has what he calls the one-page proposal, and really it's just kind of throwing out there what services that you're going to offer, and if there's any guarantee you want to put on there, or, any of the terms you want to put on there, but it's not some signed official contract. The other thinking on that is Paul is he actually likes contracts. He doesn't hold the members of Super Simple Outsourcing to it, or the people that contract through his services, but he does believe in them. So he actually has I think it's a 14-page template inside the dashboard. When you get access to that, or if you already have it, you can go into the document library, and you would just do a search on contract. I think that keyword term will bring that right up, and it's a very good beginning starting point, and it's going to cover a lot of bases in the general sense. And then if you wanted to put some of your services in there, that's a really good start. I mean, it's a very complete contract, but they didn't tailor it to all the services, or they didn't add all the services, I imagine, because there's a bunch of different ways you could do it with people. So, and a lot of them might not be covered. So I would take a look at that, and then kind of customize it to the services that you really want to offer, and then you probably end up, I guess, building that out with each new person when they're going to start up with you. Okay. Let's see, Dave, I think you're just giving me a status update where you're at here. Let's see, away on a bus for almost 2 weeks. That you see the message, you should be up to week 4. Is it a big deal to be behind? No, absolutely not. If you're working on working through the LBMM course, it can be a self-paced study. There is not a live training element to it right now. And so if you're on week 2 and you're supposed to be on week 4, that is not a problem. You just adjust your schedule. Don't get overwhelmed, and go through it at your own pace as you can. All right. Chris, I have a very similar question. I'm on week 2 of 7. I'm wondering if you have presentation, PowerPoint, or something available. Let's see. Is that perhaps a presentation that you would give to people, like present to prospects or something like that? If that's the case, Kevin does have in there something he called in the bonus package. That should be a link on the right-hand side. I think premium bonus package is what it might be called, and that he called the $1 million presentation. And that is something that you could tailor to, however you want to, if you're presenting to maybe a group of people at a chamber of commerce. But you could also sit down and give that to somebody one-on-one, as it has some of the statistics and just general online marketing information to give that prospect ahead of time to kind of educate them. And then you would move right into the consultative process that Kevin kind of walks you through, and walking through their research report and their results. So that would be the best way to tackle that. Okay, Alfred's saying, I'm a bit lost. I bought the program yesterday, have not been able to get on the dashboard. So Alfred, there are 2 unique things, and one is the access to the program. That should have been emailed to you immediately upon purchase. If it didn't, that's something we want to address right away, and you would want to send us a support ticket. It's support@nitrosupport.com, and our support team can help you get access to that. And the other thing would be the dashboard. Now that is something that you apply for with Endless Rise, and it takes between 24 to 48 hours to get that application through and approved, and to get the login sent back over to you. And that is a link that I posted a bit ago into the group chat. I'm going to go ahead and post it again, so that if anybody is listening and they have not done that yet, they can jump on that. Because again, there is a little bit of a waiting time to get that processed. If you again haven't heard after 48 hours, go ahead and check up with Judy, and she can check on that application for you. All right, so I did post the dashboard link again, and for everyone. All right, David says, some niche market research questions. Do you have a list of good questions suitable for this business? So I think let's see, David, is that, kind of asking businesses, doing a survey, or, some questions that you can ask yourself to determine your best niche? I know that Kevin, has been talking a bit lately about his approach of nichifying, if that's a word, the business. And I know that they have kind of a survey process they go through. I don't have those questions in front of me, but I know that Kevin also takes the approach of kind of letting the niche find him. And when he set up his local pay-per-click agency, which was kind of something new he did last year, they did a couple niches, and they actually found one that he says, kind of like he says, chose him. And I don't know exactly what that means, but I think what it is the niche that they got along with, and they saw potential, and whose clients were responsive to their messaging, and whose clients wanted to, further engage, and they just had more engagement from the people in that niche, and so they started to focus in and hone in on that niche. Now, I know if you were on the State of the Union webinar that Kevin and Ed had, what was it, a week or two ago? Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago. They talked about calling up some of the businesses in your niche and asking them some questions. I think just general questions about their industry, how do you guys do your marketing and different things. I haven't seen actually all the questions that they have or that they ask, but that's another way to determine, if you think this niche is going to be a good fit, because you're actually getting on the phone with some of the business owners in that niche and having a conversation with them, and after a couple, 2, 3, 4 phone calls, I think you start to get a real good idea about a niche by doing that. And so I thought that was a real interesting recommendation before you jump headlong into determining your niche, is actually just getting on the phone and chatting with them. And I do know this one particular tip. They said ask them about their industry and not necessarily their business specifically. And that is because if you ask them about their business, they're going to probably clan them up, and somebody's wanting information from me about my business, or they want to, maybe sell something to me. But if you're just asking about the industry, of course they love to talk about their industry that they're in. So nice tip there as far as talking to business owners before you get into a specific niche. All right. Ken says, hey Ken, this is too much to take in if you try to cover everything. It'll drive you nuts and confuse your client trying to talk to them about everything. Pick 2, 3, 4, maybe, and go with that, and add as you gain experience. So I think, Ken, you were providing, some input there about, trying to cover all bases and provide all services to all people and put it all in a contract. And I would have to agree with you there. If you talk to them too long and too much about too many specifics, the eyes will glaze over. And remember, we're, being in internet marketing, all of us here, we have a lot more experience than your average business owner. They may not even know what a follow-up sequence is or an autoresponder sequence, and we're so used to getting them from everybody in the internet marketing world. It's like second hat to us, but a lot of them may have never experienced that before. So keep that in mind when you're talking to those business owners. Start small, start basic, let them see the concept and the opportunity, kind of the big picture of local marketing. And help them turn the corner, if they haven't quite turned the corner, of moving from the phone book to being digital or having a presence online. If they already have a presence online and a website, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to help them turn the corner from thinking that, hey, I've got a website online, my whole marketing is done. We know that is not the case. They might be buried on page 12 of the Google results, and their website will never be accessed. Who is going to search 12 pages deep for a plumber? It's not going to happen. So, as you're talking to local businesses, just keep in mind that they're way behind you. They're not where, your knowledge level is, and you have to sometimes identify their level of understanding and then help them to the next stage and open their eyes to the next opportunity for them, whether it's being, very basics and let's move off of the phone book and on to, a website, or, okay, great, now you got a website. Let's get you, some proactive marketing going, not just sitting there waiting on page 6. Maybe let's, talk about some social media. Let's talk about some SEO. Let's talk about some pay-per-click, and showing them some of their opportunities that they have that they probably aren't paying attention to. Now, I have a feeling that more and more business owners are getting more advanced because they're likely in the marketplace online just as we are, and they may have seen some of their competitors, advertising online, or maybe even they've seen a competitor on Facebook, putting an ad on the right-hand side, and they're probably scratching their head, how do you do that? And maybe they're trying it themselves. So that's why the consultative approach and really trying to dig into what this business owner has done, what their thinking is, what their budget is, what they would like to do. Are they happy just being in the phone book for now and being left in the dust, or they want to move aggressively online and really build a presence? That's why that consultative approach that Kevin teaches is so powerful, because it helps you to uncover that and then work with them on solutions, tailored to what they're looking to do online. So it's a lot less, hard selling and a lot more consulting with them. And, ultimately they see you as this kind of trusted advisor, this partner that's coming alongside them. And you are, quite honestly, if you do have their best interest in mind, because think about it, you want to, because if they have good results, they're going to stay with you month after month. So, ultimately, we want to have their best interest in mind, but they'll see that, and they'll know that you're not just the next salesperson to come through their door or to speak to them on the phone. So, long answer to that comment by Ken, but it just reminds me also too, I just got our phone book from the local phone book company, and back when I started with Nitro several years ago, I actually started collecting the phone books and keeping them, and I wanted to watch how the thickness and the size of that phone book went down just to prove the concept. And I now have, I think, 3 or 4 years of phone books, and it's amazing. I will tell you, even the one I think from 2011 or something was a lot thicker, a lot bigger, and the one that I just got, I compared it to even last year, and it's skinnier. I haven't broke out the ruler to see what percentage it's skinnier, but I kind of want to do that. I'm kind of curious to see what percentage it's shrunk. But even the overall size of the phone book, I think, went down, not much, but it went down in size. I don't even if it was an 8 by 11 before, maybe it's a 7 by 10 or something, but I noticed a dramatic reduction over the years of these phone books and their size, and it just proves that people are withdrawing from the phone book and putting their money online, which can make all of us in the online marketing space more and more excited, because more of that ad budget and more of that what the money that the people have set aside to invest in advertising is going to be coming our way. So as Kevin's been saying, this opportunity is growing. It is definitely not shrinking. So that's good news. All right. Alfred says, when I select week 1, I get the general membership page. Alfred, that is indicative of some kind of a login, whether it be a password issue. Oftentimes, if you're not seeing really the weeks across the top, or if you're clicking on week 1 and you're kind of just getting routed back to the home page, that is showing that something's going on. So a couple things you might want to try. Try logging out. If you have not logged out officially the last time that you logged in, our system sometimes it times out. So it's a nice tip to log out when you're in the site and you're done with your training. Just go ahead and log out. It kind of keeps it fresh, keeps it live. So go, I think top right nowadays for LBMM, and then select log out, or just find log out on there somewhere. The other thing to do is try a new browser. Or if you just want to use your current browser, do a refresh of that browser, kind of wipe out the cookies, wipe out the cache, reset that browser so that it picks up on you as a new visitor. And I do believe that will help you out. If not, please do send us a notification to support, again, support at nitrosupport.com, and we can take a look into that for you. Okay. Gary says, to register for outsourcing, it asks for a website. Do I need this first to set up basically before you can become a reseller? Great question. Great question. Glad you asked it, because I think we have a few people on here that are going to be putting that are going to be putting in their applications this week, and you do not have to fill all of that information in there. Go ahead and put something like unknown or don't have right now in that box. They are really just looking to put as much information in their system as they can up front, but they can always circle back around and get that information from you. So it's not an absolute requirement that you have that to fill out that application. They're more than happy to get you going without having an official business name or whatever. It asks for a business number on there. We have a lot of new folks on here today, and so feel free to fill it out and just let them know it's to be determined if need be. So no problem there. Okay, Matt says, if I'm prospecting a client and I'm going to see them for the first time and want analytics to show them, i.e. current search terms and results by month, would I get a proposal for SEO or would I go another avenue to get those figures? And great question, Matt. You are more than welcome to go ahead and fill out a proposal request, especially if you have an appointment with somebody or they have engaged you for that next step. You wouldn't want to go in and fill out a proposal request for everybody on your list that you want to approach to maybe get into a conversation with. But if you said, hey, we offer you a free market analysis and a competition report, we'll be more than happy to run that for you. No charge to you, and present it to you during our meeting, and they said, yeah, let's do this, I'm game, then you can absolutely jump in there, fill out that SEO proposal request. There's no obligation, no cost to doing that, and they will run the research report for you and get things going, and then and that is what you will use to present to them during that meeting. And so again, it's no charge to you, but absolutely you want to bring that because and let them do the work for you. You don't have to go out and invest in another service right now. There's plenty of good keyword research that gets done for you. They're going to take a look at the top 3 competitors to that business in the area and how do they rank, and so really powerful stuff that you can talk to that business owner about. It really does actually kind of ignite their competitive nature when they see that some of their competitors ranking above them for certain keywords online. And I do know that business owners, they do now jump on Google. I mean, we were talking a little bit ago about some of them not knowing much, but there are definitely those out there that they're jumping on Google and they're typing in their keywords every week or whatever, and they're noticing where they're at versus their competition. And so a report like this, where it's got the 3 top competitors in the area showing against their statistics, oh boy, it really ignites them, and they want to get going. But that's for their best interest, right? Isn't that in line with their best interest? Don't we want to help them move up in the rankings, and don't we want to give them the best opportunity to succeed by getting higher ranked in Google? And so really it becomes, again, we were talking about that partnership aspect of this kind of marketing, and a lot of people enjoy that. So definitely, Matt, go ahead, jump in there, fill out that request, and yeah, don't be shy about doing that. Okay, David says, let's see, yes, doing a survey in the market. Let's see, get the idea about a niche choosing him. Okay, so yeah, going back to the niche choosing, and I think I might have filled in enough there to get you going, David, on the niche survey. So, all right. Ron says, do you know of any VAs who have worked with researching tax liens and deeds? Ooh, there's a specific question. I do not. Sorry, Ron. I'm not familiar there. All right. So Ken says, do something cheap for a client, never free. Then they're not a cold call next time you contact them. Let's see. So two comments from Ken. And I know Ken's been out in the field and has already secured some clients and been at this for a while. So great input, Ken. And that is an interesting, good point. And why not maybe even put a little bit of marketing, I don't want to say spin or what's the right term? But there's no problem in showing a real world value for research. There are some businesses out there that are going to charge for that research report. So I think Ken is maybe even saying, if you're going to offer a research report, put a value to it, whatever you're comfortable with, 97, a $199 value, a $299 value, how much, kind of depends on how much time you're also going to pour through the report, because you can put a real world value to your time. Condensing that down and saying, I really think that these are the top keywords for you, and these 4 keywords right here, these aren't really, they don't really have value to you, because somebody might be searching, for a business that's not related to yours. I can't think of a real specific example, but, you're going to probably spend some time looking at that report, familiarizing yourself, running the numbers a little bit yourself, crunching it. So there is some real world value to that report. And so I think what Ken is addressing that comment to is maybe the report as well as other things. But very good point. If you put a little bit of a value to it, and maybe you say it's normally $199, I'm going to discount it down to you 90% or whatever you want to do. And if you want to charge them, $19, or you want to charge them, even a small fee, what Ken is saying, it's a great point. When you call them, it's not a cold call anymore. It's not even a sales call almost. You're calling to deliver the results of the report that they took you up on. And then the next step, Mr. Business Owner, is just to make sure, is this a good fit for us to work together? And so, it does change the nature of that conversation. And Ken, I know you've had some success, so great points. Ken also says, as far as PPC is concerned, there are niches that buy in leads from lead brokers. I have found them responsive to PPC. So very interesting idea there. Take a look around at who offers niche leads, or who offers certain niches the leads, and aim your marketing gun, so to say, at those specific niches with your PPC message, because they're used to buying leads and they understand the concept of paying for pay-per-click, of paying per lead, and you could probably then talk to them about the concept or the idea of, let's build you something so you're not you're not at the mercy of the leads coming to you, or always having to pay for the leads through the lead source. You can kind of build your own machine and make it happen that way. So good points from the field there, Ken. All right, John says, for a potential client, how do I find out how many searchers have found their site? Very good question. Let's see. Analytics would be one of those. Although Google Analytics has changed, and everything is always changing online, and this is why Kevin recommends outsourcing as much as you can, because it's very hard to keep up with all the nuts and bolts of how Google's changing and the algorithms are changing and all of this, and that's why he built the business model of being the marketing person in your company, the sales person in your company, the client relationship, but not the fulfillment side. So let's see specifically, John, how to tell. Let's see here. That's a very good question. I mean, as far as finding out how many searches have found their site, I don't know if you're looking for keyword volumes, but that's going to show up on some of the reporting that you can get from SSO. It should show overall volumes monthly on how many people are searching, and then you can kind of show them. A way to do this really, what's the right term for it? A way to do this to kind of back into the numbers would be to take a look at the reporting for Super Simple that comes from Super Simple Outsourcing, and then take a look at the generally accepted percentages of how many people click on listing 1, how many people click on listing 2, and there's lots of studies and facts out there. I can't remember the percentage off the top of my head, but a super high percentage on the click on number 1, a super high, the next, that's a pretty good drop, but number 2 gets this amount of people that click on it, and if you find the average spot of that person, you can apply those percentages, and you're saying, you're likely getting, there's 1,000 people per month searching for Dallas plumber, and we know that you're in spot 9, and we know that traditionally, 4.6% of the people, click on spot 9, and so you're getting, whatever the math is on that, 40, 50, clicks per month on your website. If you were Mrs. Business Owner, listed as number 1, you would be getting this many clicks by the percentage basis, and that's a way you could back into that. You'll find also that when you start talking to business owners about that and kind of showing them some of the numbers and demonstrating that to them, you will find that they see your expertise, and the number and the things start to click. And when it's kind of funny when you speak to them about specifics like that, it doesn't take very long for the mind to go to the ROI and for them to start doing the math and say, wow, you know what? If I'm at spot 8 and I'm, traditionally getting this many, that guy who's my number 1 competitor sitting up there at number 1, he's getting this many clicks and leads per month. I want that. And so, it's motivating for them to see the numbers. But just don't go into the algorithm or don't go into how it's done, because their eyes will glaze over. And it's just, they don't necessarily need to know all the ins and outs of how the magic happens, so to say, behind, in the laboratory. They just need to know, I want to be number 1, and you're the person to help me get there. And so, yeah. All right. Okay, Bruce says, hey, Bruce, just for our info, can you measure the thickness of those yellow pages and supply us with those stats so we can use it in our info? Thanks. That would be super interesting to do. I hate to do it on the the webinar live here. I'm actually looking at them, but I should figure out a way to do that and get that information out. I just pulled out the 2012, 2013, 2014. I'm going to eyeball it here, but I've got like probably an inch in 2012 and then 3/4 of an inch the next year in 2013. And I bet you this next one is, it's 50%. Yeah, it's 50% of the 2012 one, holding the bindings up here side by side. And so the other one is... Wow, that is tremendous. I'll have to get like a millimeter ruler out, to get really accurate. But to be honest, it looks like the 2012, if that was the baseline, the next one drops 25%, and then the next one drops another 25%. So that is a downward spiral. No wonder the Yellow Page industry is scrambling to offer their own online, services. So. Yeah, I could confidently say that year over year it dropped 25% in size each year. Just looking at the last 3 years, somewhere I've got 2011, and I'm sure it's thicker than 2012. So, very, very interesting. Okay, Ken says the phone book thing, speaking of, is very true. I have the last 3 phone books. Photos in a small folder I show to clients. Amazing difference in size. Again, yeah, very, very, very powerful. Brad says, where's the sales training coming from, Kevin? That should be, now Brad, if you were in any of the webinars or promotions that Kevin had and he offered kind of beta access to the sales team training, I know they're looking at rolling out the beta access very, very soon, and then the overall launch should be sometime in May. So depending on where you are at, and if you're taking part in the beta or the overall live launch, that's how that would shake out. Okay, Roger says checking in. Hey Roger, how you doing? All right, Jan says there are a number of options for assisting clients with video. Animoto or Mojo Video Marketing, or Kevin also has an outsourcing video service. Where should we start for our first few clients? All right. That is a good question, because, Jan, the answer to that is kind of going to be, what do they want to do? If they want something like a business profile video or maybe a web commercial where they want to invest a little bit more and they want to be live and in person on the camera, and maybe have the business owner telling about the business history, or their kind of the about us type stuff, then I would definitely go with Mojo Video, because they're going to be able to do that. And that link, just for anybody, well, let me go ahead and put the outsource link in the chat panel right now, because if you're a member of Nitro Marketing, you can absolutely have access to all of our preferred outsource vendors. So let me, before I forget, get that into the chat panel here. There we go. It's localbusinessmoneymachine.com/outsourcing. And that will get you, let's see, Client Marketing Videos is the link. And that's the Mojo Video guys, and they do video production of that nature. And so if you got into a conversation with the business owner and they seem like they want to be on screen, and they want to be, and they're not afraid of that camera, go that route. It can be a nice little revenue source. Because those videos, they're not cheap, right? And I don't think the business owner expects them to be cheap. Something professional like that, with a nice image, nice, quality recording and so forth, is not. And you know what? I need to step back a moment here and think about this. The Mojo Video, I apologize, is more. They're going to use a stand-in for the business owner, but it's going to be like a spokesperson, so somebody that's on the screen. I forgot that's not necessarily the source to have the business owner right then and there, although they might be able to do that. I don't know their absolute current offering, but I know that's out there nowadays, is where you can kind of outsource video production like that. So I have to take a step back from the Mojo Video one. They will have a spokesperson, but it's going to be a real live person, whereas Animoto is a service where you can plug in some pictures of the business, some text about the business, maybe their business hours, their mission statement, different things, and Animoto is going to just do this fancy, magical production and put all that together into a really snazzy kind of 30-second or 1-minute video that's automatically made. And so you don't have to learn video editing, all of that. So amazing, these technologies these days. And what you can get done. And so I really think the question is, or the answer to that question is, when you're talking to the business owner about a video service, kind of gauging to what level they want to go and, what level of investment. Now, the Animoto Video, because it's going to be charged down a little bit less because it doesn't have a spokesperson. There's not somebody live coming on there. You could record a soundtrack, and you could get that done, from like a voiceover service if you wanted to, or a site like, Fiverr.com, where they do the voiceovers for really relatively inexpensive price, and you could add that into your Animoto. But ultimately those two videos are going to be, one is a much higher grade than the other one because it's a custom script and all of that. So I hope that helps a little bit about the direction on the video. But if you're thinking about like a video service up front for them, then Animoto definitely. I mean, if you wanted to create something for the business owner to kind of wow them even before they were a client, Animoto would, kind of allow you to do that. And there would be some options there. All right. David says, do you have the website link to the last State of the Union seminar? I don't. Kevin and Ed pulled that recording down after the follow-up emails and the launches of that, and so they don't have that posted online right now, unfortunately. They may decide in the future to go ahead and, bring that one out again, but as of right now, we don't have that posted on a public spot right now online. Okay. Bruce says, I know a VA that did good social media press releases and keyword research and other online things. $438 per hour and is supervised. That's pretty amazing. I know there's some resources out there. Kevin, I don't know if we have. No, I don't think we have that. 123 employee is somebody who Kevin has recommended and in the past, and so that is a VA service, and it sounds a little bit like what Bruce is getting at, where there is some supervision. Bruce was updating, no, she's available. Oh, you're saying she's available, wow. But yeah, there are supervised services out there where the VAs actually come into an office building, and that's the theory behind 123 employee, and they they're like they're supervised, probably a little bit more expensive than maybe you're going to find on Odesk. Maybe not, but it sounds like Odesk is what Bruce is saying. Somebody like that where they're a private contractor, and they would contract directly with you as opposed to being employed with a company like 123 Employee, who then pays that employee, and you pay the company. So a couple different models there. We have used both, and we've found benefits to both. And so it's really just how you want to. It's probably the 123 employees will probably a little bit more hands off because there is some supervision there. Whereas with an Odesk employee, you might have a little bit more groundwork to lay with them and whatnot because they might be working just from home, and maybe they've never done so much in the past, or they don't have a structured environment. So that's my tips there, or the comments there. Okay, Pedro says, I am on week 2 of the LBMM course. Where can I start outsourcing SSO? So Pedro, if you haven't already seen the link in the right-hand side, it will be your first step. And I say right-hand side, that's just usually where the chat panel is for people. And I posted something that says to get the SSO dashboard, you go to Super Simple Outsourcing. There's a link there. Now that link is also going to be, it should also be on the home page of your LBMM course. And so take a look there, and you should see a link to the Super Simple Outsourcing application on that page. And I hope I'm quoting that correctly. But it's funny how some of the things that you forget over time that you absolutely know. I guess it's all the details in the head. You keep stacking them one on top of the other, and you start to lose track. All right. Let's see. Do you know where to find the precise percentage of rank 1 to 3 position? John-Luc, I think you're talking about, a couple moments ago I was talking about backing into the numbers. I would just do a Google search. I don't have a resource off the top of my head, but I know there's some pretty accepted numbers out there, and I think Google might even talk. I mean, they would know because they track all sorts of things, and I think they might even allow that information out into the general public. Just knowing how many people click on their rankings on 1, 2, and 3. So I would do some Google searches, and I think you're going to bump into that relatively quickly. But it's a pretty significant drop from even number 1 to number 4, I think, percentage-wise. Okay, Ken says, go to your local library. They usually have the last 2 to 3 years of Yellow Pages available. Use your smartphone to, hey, Ken, that is another awesome tip. So thank you so much for all your tips today. And that is a great point. The local library likely has a backlog of all the phone books over the last couple of years. So you can just take your trusty ruler down there, take your smartphone down there, take some pictures. You might even put the ruler next to the binding and say, next to the year, stack them all up next to each other. I mean, it's dramatic. It's a pretty dramatic thing. I mean, I'm looking at the 3 that I've got here stacked up next to each other, and it's just, I mean, there's such a noticeable drop. It's really quite amazing. So great point there, Ken, and nice tip on heading to the local library. Okay, Bruce says, a friend of mine works for the newspaper. Last year they had 1,200 employees. Oh my, and they just laid off 1,000 employees. So they have reduced their, 80% drop in their staffing at the newspaper. Yeah, I mean, things in printed form are being attacked from multiple points. It's not to say that it's 100% dead. I mean, there's a unique opportunity that can open up sometimes when everybody runs from door number 1 to door number 2, and there's only a few people left over there at door number 1. There's some unique opportunities over there because the masses have gone, but you want to focus in on the new thing, but you can also, sometimes leverage everybody leaving, the old way of doing it. And I know there's been some internet marketers who have taken advantage of this just in our industry. Everybody email marketing, and all this online marketing stuff, which is the wave of the future, but they've also continued to mail, physical letters out. And now they're standing out tremendously because nobody is doing that. And so a nice balanced approach to that. But yeah, interesting comment about the newspaper, laying off 1,000 people where Bruce's friend works there. Very, very telling indeed. I mean, and the environmental movement, I think, is pushing some of this, go to digital type of a thing. And the mobile movement, I mean, what a huge movement. Everyone, is very used to now, getting things on their mobile phone, and I mean, even shopping on their mobile phone, and all reading email, everything on the mobile phone. And so more and more and more online. Okay. All right. Jan says, thanks. I was looking at when or why we would use the various video options. It is important for our clients to have at least a small telephone, I think telephone book advertisement, so they still show up in the Google searches. Agreed. Yeah. And I think they don't want to abandon it entirely. You want to have some presence there because there are some people that are going to access that channel to find people. But I think the days of the two-page, full-page spread, you might be much better off putting your money into the new marketing. So, okay. Another interesting tip as you're going to the, just came to mind, as you're going to that library and you're pulling some phone books out, you might see who's still in that brand new phone book. And that might be a nice, maybe write those people's names down if you have a particular niche. Go home and then see who is not online. So there's somebody that you might want to call up and you'll have a unique message to them, right? Hey, I noticed you're in the phone book and I noticed you don't have a website, or I noticed, you don't have much of an online presence. It's your lucky day because that's my expertise. The other route is you could see who's there, in a big way, and who also has a big online presence. That means they're spending some, definite money in both places, but maybe they have a bad ranking. So, kind of what I'm getting at is taking a look at who the people you want to go after, and then approaching them, speaking to them where they are at. So not just one blanket marketing message for everybody, but you're kind of tailoring your marketing to what they're already doing online, and then helping them, kind of incenting them to talk to you. I'd love to show you the next step that can just help you, improve and improve your strategy, your overall strategy. Okay. Phil says, not sure if you can help with this, but I can't open up any of Kevin's inspirational YouTube videos. Okay, Phil, yes, this is something we're getting a report on recently, and I know YouTube, they probably did another sweep through and another copyright, issue, and Kevin just had pulled some YouTube videos. They're kind of inspirational from different, just off of YouTube, and we had some links that were getting reports of being, pulled down basically by YouTube, and so we're kind of trying to look for replacements. Maybe there's somebody else that's got it uploaded on YouTube and get those inserted in there. So unfortunately for now, I don't have the replacements of those. I do know one was the Facing the Giants, if you're familiar with that film, and a clip where they were on the field, the football field, and the coach was really pushing one particular individual to go much further. He kind of blindfolds him and puts somebody on his back, and he's crawling, making him crawl, and just that inspirational part about that we need to hear from time to time about there's a lot of times we can push further than we ever thought we could. And so if you look up Facing the Giants clips, you will probably find one that Kevin had referenced. So I wish that didn't happen, but it looks like somebody made a claim to it and YouTube said oh and pulled it down. All right. Jean-Luc says, as a member of LBMM, did I have a white label local website included? We do. So there's a couple different options for you for websites. We have it done for you, or kind of, it's set up for you, but then you do have to customize it. It is a great it's a great starting website, and this is what a lot of people use this for. Kevin's all about taking action and getting out there, so he wanted to prevent anybody from really being stuck or stumbling upon, stuck on not having a website online and trying to figure this out. So he contracted with another company called WebWeaver, and we provide a template that gets loaded up for you when you order their service. You just have to go on and kind of customize a few things, and we got some videos showing you how to do that. So that is an option for you. It gets, again, it's a nice starter website. It gets a presence online, allows you to get out there and start marketing, which is ultimately going to bring clients. You know, I wouldn't anticipate a lot of clients coming in through your website in the first 6 months. It's more if somebody says, well, hey, just why don't you shoot me your website? You say, okay, cool. You know, and you can shoot them your website. They know you've got something online. The other option through Endless Rise, when you get your dashboard access, you can take a look at the different reseller tools that they have. And I think that's the menu item name is reseller tools or resellers, you know, options, but they will do a website for you. It's much more done for you. It's probably a little snazzier looking template, you know, because they have the option of customizing a little bit for you or setting it up basically. And there is some expense to that, but you know, if you're somebody that has a little bit more money than time, then you might just invest in that and let Endless Rise actually do that process for you. So, you know, you're not contracting for your client this time, you're contracting for yourself. So great option. Those are the two roads that we recommend, the two different paths you can take to get your website online. Now, Jean-Luc, that should be somewhere in the LBMM course for you. I believe on the right-hand side is where that link is currently. You know, set up your website. If you can't find it, go ahead and send us an email, again, support@nitrosupport.com, and we can get you the link to get that set up. Okay, David says, building a business for future sale. Does a high proportion of freelance outsourced staff affect the future sale and value of a potential, or the potential sale? Okay, I'm going to have to repeat some of what I heard Kevin say because this is not my expertise, but I do believe that if you are planning your company, you know, and looking at making an exit sometime in the future, you know, the next 2 to 3 years, and Kevin, part of that webinar that I was talking about earlier, the State of the Union speech, Kevin was saying that there's going to, you know, every industry goes through these cycles or these stages, and local marketing is still a fairly new industry. You know, I mean, really, you guys are on the cutting edge still of this birthing new industry. This wasn't around, you know, even probably 10 years ago. I don't know when somebody would say the birth of local marketing happened, but I think within the last 5 years. And so very young industry right now, but they are, you know, we're projected to go through a time of consolidation, because I guess that's all new industries go through, a time of consolidation where medium-sized companies buy up little companies and big companies buy up medium-sized companies, because they hit a certain point where the only ability for them to grow now and to gain market share is through acquisition. And so that's where David's question is coming from, you know, the point of acquisition. And if I want to set up my company with the idea of selling it off in 2 or 3 years during this consolidation, you know, do I need to have full-time staff with an office, or can I rely on virtual assistants and kind of a staff that's set up that way? I think the overall feeling is it is very good to have some of your own employees when that time comes. And it might be that you are still outsourcing the SEO side of things, because that's maybe not necessarily the magic, so to say, of having a business that is growing, because, you know, some of that is just the interpersonal things, and having, you know, project managers that understand how to onboard a customer, you know, and you might have a very unique way that you onboard customers and that stands out in your industry, and that's what makes you attractive to somebody who wants to acquire a company. You might also have a very unique something that you've come to in your niche that works well on the front end, so a very unique sales funnel and a way of reaching the prospective clients in your your specific niche and speaking their language, and then the funnel that you put them through, whether it's a follow-up series of emails that results in this particular business meeting, and then you have a 12-point slide presentation that just converts like crazy. I mean, these are the things that the people that are acquiring companies, they're also interested in that, because that's intellectual property, and that's what Kevin is aiming for. He's kind of built his pay-per-click agency on the idea of doing an exit in the next 2 to 3 years, or I don't know the timeline, but he has explained that before on webinars, where that's his goal. He really wants to build this thing to sell it. And so they are keeping all of their kind of intellectual property very, tight-lipped, and they don't want to share a lot of it, because it is a marketplace advantage. It is a competitive advantage. And so look at it from multiple angles, but the personnel side of things, I think that it is attractive to somebody who is buying you out to already have people in place that are, kind of willing and able to move with the company or to assist in the transition, even if, the jobs might go away because they're going to move the office to Kansas or something, and they're not virtual employees. But somebody that would be willing to stay around and help with the transition, and maybe even stay on for 6 months, 12 months to see it through. There's a lot more vested interest to an employee who you have maybe stateside or in an office that's in your local area than somebody who's overseas. Although it's not to say that you couldn't do it. That's kind of my understanding of Kevin's thinking behind that. Now, I'm pretty sure Kevin does a mixture of employees, in his own business. So if he can advise you what he does, I'm quite sure that's how he's setting his business up. Okay, I'll take just a moment for a sip of water here. 1 second. Okay. Let's see, David says, nope, that was the last question. Phil says, what is the best item, i.e. videos, press releases, etc., that will improve a customer's ranking quickly to show them an example of increasing their search engine visibility? Great question. I have heard a couple different strategies. Let's tackle videos first. You can take and make a video and optimize it for the business's name. And the reason doing that is, A, they kind of like to see their name online, and B, often moving up the rankings for a business owner's name is not as difficult as, local plumber or, Kansas City architect or something like that, because everybody's playing in that game, in that keyword mix, whereas there's hardly anybody playing in the keyword game for that business person's, that business, the name of that business. And the other thing you can do is get creative with, best hair salon in, Kansas City. By putting words like that, making a little bit more long tail, you can move up the rankings a little quicker. Press releases are also going to help out. If it's optimized for the business owner or something a little bit more long tail, just because it's easier to move up, and you're playing in a less competitive field. But you named off, I think, 2 good viable options, videos and press releases. There has been some change in the video optimizing, since when we first recommended it, as always happens with Google. A lot of people jump on it, and then Google kind of says, uh-oh, and they kind of change their algorithms a little bit, and it's a big song and dance, is that, this SEO thing, and so, or a big game, really. And that's why ultimately we recommend outsourcing to Endless Rise, because let them stay ahead of it, or let them stay on top of the game. Let them look at their thousands of campaigns and see what's working and what's not working. And that's kind of the benefit of being aligned with a big company like Endless Rise, who does this on a massive scale, because they take a look at all their campaigns and they can pull best practices from that. So I would say, I don't have a very specific answer there, Phil, but I would say video or press release optimized for some long tail keywords, or the business's name specifically, is what's going to give you the best chance of moving it up. All right. Jean-Luc says, compare the yellow page year format. Let's see. I think I'm not quite getting that one. Let's see. Oh, maybe you had some additional. Those yellow page customer dinosaurs have money to invest in real provable results marketing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so here's the difference when you're also talking about yellow pages is you can say, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner, when you sign up that annual contract in the yellow pages, you're putting down, I mean, some of these people are putting down huge numbers for the contract. It could be upwards of 12, 15, 20,000 a year or more for some of those full page ads. I wonder what the person that takes the whole back page. I mean, I wonder what they pay per year, 30,000, 40,000. But, they're putting that money down. They're signing that contract with really no promise that that's going to pan out. And you're offering, we're going to give you a month-to-month service. We're going to continue to optimize, based on getting you the best results. We're going to be able to stay fluid. We're not locked into any, one ad or one approach like you are in the yellow pages. I mean, it's not like they remake the yellow page every month and adjust and optimize. I mean, and so, if you're trying to talk them into investing that yellow page money into online, there's a couple of angles that you can take right there. And, they're locked in. I mean, play it up, that you're absolutely locked in. And the thing with online marketing is we can be flexible. I mean, we can take some of that budget and we can do pay-per-click advertising, and we can adjust in the same day. We can adjust your ads. We can adjust in the same week. I mean, maybe you don't want to promise the same day, but in the same week we can adjust your landing pages to, to optimize and to get the best results. Online is so much more flexible, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, than this yellow page, and you're not locked into some huge, contract over the year. And you're purchasing a dying medium here. I mean, look at my iPhone picture from the last, 4 years of yellow pages. And, why is this happening? It's because more and more businesses are, catching it and they're moving away. So, all right. Jan has a follow-up here to the breakdown of percentages. So very interesting. Good discovery here, Jan. Let me try and read this here. The average breakdown of these percentages is as follows. The number one ranked website receives 42%. So one rank, 42%. I'm going to put this in the chat panel here just for fun. Okay, so the first one, the second ranked website receives 12%. Wow, look at that. So that is that significant drop. I thought it was a significant drop. The number 3 website is 8% of clicks. That didn't come out so well. 3ES, third 8%, and the number 4 ranked website is 6%. So interesting, a little bit more or less of a drop there between 3 and 4. Right, the number 5 is at 5, so that's easy. And let's see, the number 6 ranked website receives 4. So you see how the trend here, it really slows down after those top 2 even. And the 7th is 3%. So that just pans right out. Wow, so look at that. I mean, there's lots that could be done with that math. And knowing that, and totaling it up, I can't, we won't spend the time here maybe to total up, but I'm sure the 4 through 6, I mean, what is that? They get equal to the second position, combined, and so you could really put some numbers to that. Take a look at those percentages and help the business owner. The best recommendation I guess I could do is to help the business owner do the math, and you almost want to do it without doing the math for them and saying, so the first position, your competitor here, Jones & Jones Painting, they're taking up 42% of the clicks, and here you are down at the number 7%, you're taking 3% of that, and there's this many searches per month. I mean, they'll start doing the math, right? And that should light a fire under them. So, but again, it's the principle of just kind of showing them enough to allow them to do the math, and boy, that just does something. That does something to them. So, thank you very much for posting that, Jan. That was interesting. This is from Noble Samurai. She's saying, so that's a keyword software. All right. So we're getting down. Let's see, we're at 12. Well, I'm at 12:12 today. You might not be at 12:12 in the afternoon, but winding down a little bit here. Let's see if we can get some of these other questions. Okay, on week 5, lesson 3, when I click on the link for direct marketing prospecting software, it is nowhere to be found. Please advise. You know what, Rick? That is very true. We had teamed up with a person named Ryan Moran in the past for his website linking or tracking, and he recently made a big shift in his business, and they were pulling some of that down from the website. And so I need to write this down and circle back around to see if we can't get our alternate plan here. Okay, I'm just going to make a note here. Okay, we're going to have to try and get that resolved. All right. Ken says, Endless Rise has an awesome starter package, an 80-page website with bells and bells and buzzers. You can tell. You can tell I've been talking a lot. For a few $100s. Anyone I show it to is very impressed. So Ken's going back to when I was talking about the 2 different website options, and he's saying, you know, for the value of it, 80-page website for your own local marketing business, so lots of content on there, all done for you, and yeah, it ranges. It's a couple $100. I don't remember exactly. I mean, they've had promotions here and there, so. You know, he's just giving his recommendation to the Endless Rise website, and I would have to agree, especially if you don't want to deal with it yourself. And it is very slick-looking websites. And again, you can see the options for yourself when you're in the dashboard. You're kind of looking at the services, you know, that you would order for clients, and then also in there now is a reseller tab that you can check out. So. Okay, Phil says, forgive my lack of knowledge, but what do you mean by long-tail keywords? Could you give a specific example for, say, a chiropractor or orthodontist? Absolutely, and I apologize. Sometimes I do need to recall that we have very new folks that join us, and so long-tail keywords means a searcher is typing in a lot more words, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 words in the search. It almost turns into a search phrase. And so here's an example for chiropractor. Let's go, here's the shortest, you know, keyword term that you could have for chiropractor, Dallas chiropractor. If we were to step that up a little bit and get more quote-unquote long tail, I guess meaning that it has a longer, you know, series of words, best Dallas chiropractor, or Dallas chiropractor located in, you know, and maybe like I think Dallas is broken up into certain, you know, areas or something. I don't know the name, but maybe this specific neighborhood or something like that. Or let's see, what or who is best chiropractor in Dallas, you know, so that's kind of the theory behind it, is the shortest keyword, or, you know, in a very e-commerce, it would be shoes, you know, just shoes, boom, shoes, and somebody types in that, well, they're going to get a lot of women's shoes is the next step, best women's shoes, orange women's shoes, you know, and so how you see how the keywords build out there and it becomes more of a phrase. That's a long tail versus just a standard keyword. So I hope that helps. So in our, okay, so let me loop that back around to Phil's question earlier about the video. You know, it's easier to rank for that because those are the less competitive keywords, because there's a lot more people that are typing in Dallas plumber versus best Dallas plumber. Or, you know, the longer the keywords, the less competition. So that's why you can rank a little bit quicker. All right. Pete says, let's see. Hi, Matt. Kevin, sorry about this, but I've come in a bit late again from the UK. Let's see, 3:30 Eastern time here is 8:30 p.m. It's the second time I've come in a bit late. There's a miscommunication about EDT, our Eastern time. We are 5 hours ahead. So I'm going to tell you right now, and that way you can look at your clock, I'll look at mine. Pete, right now it is 3:17 Eastern. And so whatever time it is yours, I guess we can do the math. That should help moving forward. So let's see, was the conference starting at 7:30 my time or 8:30 Can you put a UK time on the next training session? We should look at that. I thought that the GoToWebinar invitation was going out with like a world clock type of a thing, but apparently it's not. I will have to make that recommendation, see what we can do. But hopefully that timestamp kind of helps do the math, so to say. And we are not in the middle, or we're not looking at a time change anytime soon, right? I think the next one might not be all the way until November or something. So that should be the time. So 2 p.m. Eastern was when this thing fires up about, so an hour and 18 minutes ago. So if you do the math there, that should give you that exact time. All right. John says, how do you know how many searches per month? So when you fill out, there's various keyword tools that are out there that will show you keyword volume. And one used to be the Google keyword tool. They kind of took the public version of that away, and they've given it now to AdWords advertisers. But you can sign up for AdWords account yourself. I don't know if it's still like $5 to sign up. I think they make it pretty inexpensive to sign up for an AdWords advertiser account, and you can get access to this keyword tool again, or you should be able to. Or what you're going to just do is fill out a proposal with the Endless Rise folks when you have somebody that's willing to come to a meeting with you, and they are going to show you the keyword data that they pull from their reporting, and you can get volumes there. And so it will show you how many people are searching for Dallas plumber versus how many people are searching for Dallas emergency plumber versus how many people are searching for plumber in Dallas and those different keywords. So that's how you would find that. Okay, Bob Richardson says, what is the source for those stats? I think reaching back to Jan's question or comments earlier about, and so she found those at Noble Samurai. So they are just a keyword vendor, and sometimes those statistics change. People have different opinions. I thought the number one was 42%. I thought it was a bit higher, but again, that's kind of the theory, or that's kind of what we've seen. Where number one has just a huge amount, and then number two it drops, and then it just boom, boom, boom. It continues to drop after that. So. And Gary's pointing out that's only 80% who is getting the other 20%. Noble Samurai, and this might be a good clarification, they may be coming at it from the perspective of overall searches. So when you type in, Dallas plumber, and you get the results online or whatever you're looking for, you'll see the AdWords advertisers at the top and on the side. Sometimes the top 3 are paid advertisers. It's possible that it only adds up to 80% because they are giving 20% to those AdWords clicks, and so they're not they're not only looking at it from what they call the organic listing percentages, but overall when somebody types in that keyword. And that's maybe sounds right. I don't remember what the average or the percentage of advertiser clicks take versus the organic clicks. I don't have that in front of me, but I think that might be what's going on here. Let's see, Ken says those percentages are going to change as Google has changed the format of their pages by taking out the colored background behind the paid listings. Yeah, Google is always messing around. They're always experimenting, and you've probably seen even recently where they're calling out, they're like putting a full-on, ad. I think, what does it say, ad or something like that next to the paid advertising, which actually kind of surprised me. I bet you it's maybe a semi-experiment. Google's always doing experiments, and I could see it going a couple different ways. I could see it people saying ad. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to click on the natural listings or whatever, because I don't want to be, maybe they think they're going to get trapped by somebody if they click on an ad, like, oh, a salesman or something's going to get me. The other thing I could think that Google's thinking is it's going to draw the eye to those listings, and people might click on them because their eye is being drawn to this icon that says, ad or whatever it is. In fact, I'm curious. I'm going to type it in right now on let's see if I can do this here. Dallas dentist. Let's see what we get here. Yep, there it is. So the yellow is what I'm thinking about there, that yellow ad. And I notice over here they don't put it next to everybody, but what Ken is saying is these top 3 listings here used to have like that yellowish tint behind it, or there's a different colored tint behind there, and now they've kind of taken it away to, I don't know if they're trying to blur the lines here or what, but I mean, what's Google in the business of, right? They want people clicking here, please click here, so that Google collects money. I mean, they do want to provide people with search results because it keeps them coming back to Google to search, but ultimately they want people to click on these ads up here and over here. So maybe they're trying to tie in the ads over here with over here. I don't know what the theory is behind this new yellow icon that's been there over what. I don't know when it first popped up, but I definitely noticed it. It jumped out at me instantly because we're in this world. And so be very interested to see how this pans out. I also don't see, a lot of times they have expanded listings under these where you can click right through the pages. I don't see that. So, they're just always changing stuff. And I'm getting, I'm getting local results. Okay, even though I'm not in Dallas, I still am getting the 7-pack here down below. But that's a whole lot more listings than I'm used to up above that. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 organic listings, and then the 7-pack down here. So it's always changing, and Google's always monkeying around, and that's why we like to have Endless Rise keep up to date on that and adjust their best practices to match what they're doing, as opposed to us trying to always reverse engineer what Google's doing, because we'll just never be able to keep up to them. But I am so curious to see how this pans out. I just haven't done a lot of research. I'm sure there's a lot of forums out there talking about it, but I haven't checked it myself. Okay, Ken says, don't worry about the terminology, Phil. A few months ago, I had trouble understanding who this Google chap was. So, yes, very good point, Ken. And now Ken obviously is well educated on it, and here he is turning around and giving some nice tips and feedback to everybody. So, all right, David says, for UK time, I use this. So it looks like David is wanting to share a resource here. So I'm going to go ahead and post this to everybody. For anybody in the UK that wants to know, worldtimebuddy.com. So. All right, Pete says, hi, Matt. Okay, cheers. Very good. Steve, it looks like you also came in late. Is there a replay for this webinar? There is, Steve. There is a replay link in the chat panel, and that's on the right-hand side. So hopefully you're able to access that. Let me go ahead and maybe grab that link for you. I can go ahead and get it's on the SSO website, so same website that you put in your application. All right, so there's that link. Phil says, I read that SEM, or search engine marketing, is better and more controllable than SEO in increasing traffic to a website. Have you found this to be true? So, the proactive getting out there and, really marketing online, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's the ads on top here that we were looking at a moment ago, pay-per-click marketing, it's more controllable, absolutely, because you can literally be listed. If this guy wants to pay enough money, if your client wants to pay enough money, you most likely could land yourself on this very top listing here, where this top Dallas area dentist's, listing is. If they're going to pay enough for the click, you kind of buy your way up there. Now, it might not be sustainable to your client to buy their way up there. A lot of times you optimize these, and your overall cost per click might, go down. So if this listing here, right here on top, is optimized, and it's, getting a better click-through rate, and Google feels that the end user is having a better end user experience, they might actually charge this person on top less than the person down here on the third listing. It's because Google, ultimately, they do want their customers, they do want us, the searcher, to get nice results, and to be happy with the search results that we got from Google, so we come back next time. We don't go to Yahoo, we don't go to Bing for our searches. And so, oddly enough, the guy on top might pay less, but what I'm saying is it is more controllable because you can buy your way up the rankings. And if you got somebody who's just competitive and just says, I want to be number one and I don't care what it costs me, you can literally make that happen, and you can do it really, really fast. You could probably be up there today, tomorrow, within a week. And so some people will do a multi-pronged approach to marketing, and they'll say, let's get your SEO campaign going. That's kind of you're investing, right, in your overall results long term. But let's also incorporate some of this paid advertising. And maybe we don't gun for the top, but maybe we gun for position 6. Maybe we gun for position 3, and just a little tip I've heard along the way on some of this PPC, sometimes the position 3 people, they actually aim to be position 3 because they're anticipating somebody to go click, I'm going to check out number 1, and then back, click, I'm going to check out number 2, and click, I'm going to check out number 3, because I want to check, right? I want to check a few. Maybe I don't want to take just the first result that I get, but I want to check around a little bit. So, being in position 3 sometimes is nice, because you're going to get, the ability to then compare yourself against maybe some others that they've already seen and maybe capture that lead right there. So, but the bottom line question, or the bottom line answer is, Phil, is yeah, search engine marketing, and doing this proactive marketing is more controllable than SEO, but a lot of people are still doing that multi-prong approach. Okay. Hal says, what are the map results? Are those also paid like the ads? These map results over here, I don't believe so. I believe those are derived from down here. These are not paid results. These are just people who have, listings that are optimized for maps that are coming up. Now, Paul, I call him SEO guru or owner of Endless Rise, he says that a lot of these results are tied down to good, proper SEO, and he's done some case studies on that. So back to that question about search engine marketing and SEO, and that we're just talking about, there's still benefit in SEO because it does seem to drive the results. Like this Mint Dentistry here. I mean, I see a couple standouts here. I mean, they've got some nice reviews, 95. I mean, that's huge. Somebody's obviously helping those guys out with their reviews. They probably also have a nice SEO optimized site that's helping them come up and be the first, number 1 maps listing there. So, but they are not paid. Okay. Pete says, is everything we do organic, and when would you advise PPC? Do we advise on a combination? So I think I just kind of touched on that prematurely there to your question, Pete. And you can definitely set up a multi-pronged approach. There are some consultants that will actually not even bring up PPC with a client if they if they land a big SEO contract. They'll actually just take some of the revenue from that contract and maybe even just buy them some results for that first couple of months. And that's really kind of a wow factor, to where you can say, hey, surprise unadvertised bonus, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner. I went ahead and I set up a PPC campaign for you just to help us to get, some nice first page listings while your SEO is taking on. It's not going to be an unlimited budget, Mr. Business Owner, but, we're going to get you some clicks here in this first month. So I have definitely seen that done and recommended. Okay, Phil says, how do we keep a client paying a monthly fee once we've placed them on page 1? That is a very, very good question, and some will, some won't. And so, you really kind of have to work with them. If you end up structuring your business so that you're a trusted advisor, and they're really seeing you as not just an SEO guy or not just an SEO gal, but you're really a marketing advisor, a trusted advisor to them. They're going to want to stick with you even though they're on page 1. The other fear is, what if you go and you start to then work with their competitor? Are you going to undo everything that they just invested on over the month? So, I think some people drop them down. They maybe don't charge so much per month, because they're not actively climbing the rankings as aggressively. Some people might shift that revenue or that funding, the budget that they've been paying you for SEO over to PPC. You might graduate them into some other service and just say, let's strengthen, let's go ahead and strengthen your overall, plan by adding this in now that we've kind of mastered the SEO. So a lot of options there, Phil, to keep that client on with you. And, some, they might just say page one and they might walk away, and then guess what? They might call you 4 months later as they see their rankings, starting to slip, or they see somebody else making headway on them. They might just give you a ring right back right away. So, but yeah, a lot of times you're just transferring them over into another service. So, okay, well, we have hit an hour and a half, and that is what we slate these webinars to be. And so I do want to thank everybody again for joining us. I hope that you have found it beneficial today. We do try and make these webinars to have a nice positive ROI for you, to try and get some of the questions answered. Looks like we were able to answer all of them today. And thank you as well, Gary, for attending. Thank you, David, for, everyone put in a lot of input today. Ken, thanks for your tips from the field, and others who provided tips, and a lot of good questions today. Some really, really good questions to kind of drive us into taking a look at some real specifics in online marketing. And hopefully your eyes were open a little bit to some of the opportunities that are out there and some of the ways that you can speak with those business owners, kind of catch their attention, show them the current state of things, and kind of demonstrate your expertise. I find that demonstrating your expertise really gets you a lot of points. And they say, wow, this person really knows what they're doing, and kind of walking me through this, this keyword report. And and again, don't get overwhelmed if you're not there yet. A lot of the training that Kevin goes through about mindset and the consultative approach is going to help there. A lot of the specifics on keywords and all this stuff is going to come out through a lot of the videos that Endless Rise provides in their dashboard. There's just so much out there, especially in the Endless Rise world. They have a lot of educational webinars that Paul has done. He's very knowledgeable in SEO, so if you feel like you want to get your hands dirty a little bit and to learn some of this SEO stuff, that's where I would start. I'd jump into that. And if you want to get the specifics, but don't get a master's degree on it before you get out there and get marketing. We want to have you marketing and talking to business owners, because that's when things are really going to become real. And I'll kind of wrap up the webinar just by saying, if you're brand new, I have always recommended, and this comes from Kevin, this is me, but I've always passed along Kevin's recommendation to go out and get a client, and that client might be, even, not paying you any money, or you might even be losing a little bit. Maybe it's somebody that or a cause that you feel strongly in supporting. Maybe it's just a local nonprofit that's got a website out there, and you want to pitch in some dollars and some time, and maybe they can support some, and you can order up just a simple little SEO package and walk through the process in a low pressure environment where you're presenting the keyword findings and you're kind of looking at the analysis, in a very low pressure environment. And there's just nothing like walking through the process. I mean, it's one thing to look at, how do I build this thing, and it's a whole, and maybe you're thinking about it and researching it online. It's a whole another thing when you order the kit and it shows up at your door and you get out your hammer and your screwdriver and you start putting this thing together, right? I mean, all of a sudden the instruction manual comes to life, and you just gain so much experience on walking through the process by yourself and just doing it. It will open up tons and tons of opportunities for you and questions, and so I highly, highly recommend, if you're brand new, make a short list of somebody you might be able to approach and say, I'm just starting out in this. Would you be willing to kind of come along with me, and let's do some work on your website at cost, and and I might, I'll be free to you, and I'll do the consulting free, and we'll do it at my cost, and you'll just really get a nice confidence boost if you do that. So. And Ken's saying, catch you soon, Matt. Gotta go. Gotta go before dinner is given to the dog. It's 8:36 in Scotland. I can't argue with you there, Ken, my friend. So have a good dinner. And I know you don't want your T-bone steak or whatever's on the table to go cold over to the pooch. All right, so we'll chat later. All right, thanks so much. And so yeah, go out and get a client, and we will just, that's going to give you so much experience. So have a great day, folks. I thank you for attending and being so attentive. We've got a lot of people still on, and I appreciate that. So have a great week. Look forward to the best of your successes coming out in the months and weeks ahead. Thanks so much, everyone.